Okay, sit yourself onto your lift. Just come into a good cross-legged position. And sit with levelness at the seat bones. So feel that you can bring seat bones level. And let's have a little wiggle about. Just make sure that you feel even at the seat bones. Hold onto your knees. Elevate the heart area up to the ceiling and draw your shoulders down away from your ears, just making space in the neck. So lift the heart area up really consciously and draw the shoulders down away from your ears so that you almost become kind of giraffe-like in the neck. The neck feels long. Look at something that doesn't move. Focus on keeping the eyes still in the sockets. Soften your jaw and your tongue and your throat. Keeping the eyes still in the sockets as you inhale from the bottom of the lungs to the top. And you exhale from the top of the lungs to the bottom. Release your knees, bring your hands into Namaste. Consciously lengthen from the armpits into the elbows into the heels of your hands, the heels of your hands into the fingertips. And with an exhalation, allow your eyes to gently close. Listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Using the out breath to draw the shoulders away from your ears, elevating the head up to the ceiling. As long as there are no issues with blood pressure or a heart condition that prevents you from holding your breath, if those conditions exist for you, then just breathe normally. Filling the lungs from the bottom to the top, emptying them from the top to the bottom. If those conditions aren't a problem for you, or if they're being controlled by medication, then at the top of the in-breath, just very gently hold the breath just for a second or two without any strain, just suspension of the inhalation and then a normal exhalation. So just inhalative retentions. So just a second or two, no longer, just suspending the breath for a moment, allowing the breath to absorb into the lungs. bring the breath back to a normal rhythm. Draw your chin down to meet your chest with the exhalation. Lift your chest up to meet your chin. Drawing your shoulders away from your ears. Spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. And then gently release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards. Connecting the tip of the index finger together with the tip of the thumb. Just a gesture of wisdom, of physical intelligence and peacefulness that we can carry into our practice. Raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open, and again hold onto your knees. Elevate the heart area upwards and consciously drawing your shoulders down. So there's a real juxtaposition there, isn't there? This elevation of the heart area and the lengthening of the shoulders down away from the ears. Take a deep breath, and with the following exhalation, draw your chin forwards and down to meet the chest. Lift the chest up to meet the chin. Wherever your next exhalation comes, with the exhalation, raise your chin to the ceiling. Push the chin as high to the ceiling as is comfortable. Just being cautious if it affects your breath. Some people feel like they're choking in this position, so just soften it. Otherwise, push the chin to the ceiling. With an out breath, bring the chin back to the centre and down to meet the chest, lifting the chest up to meet the chin, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears so you lengthen out the back of the neck. Take a deep inhalation, and with an exhalation, raise the chin up to the ceiling, stretching the front of the neck and the chin. And then with an exhalation, bring your head back to the centre. Take an in-breath, and with an out-breath, bring the right ear across towards the right shoulder, but keeping the shoulders down. So you won't make contact, but just try. Feel that deep stretch along the left side of the neck. You can just move the position of the chin up to the ceiling, down to the floor, towards the chest, just to really explore that side of the neck. With an exhalation, come back to the centre and then over to the left. Again, lifting the chest, feeling that the seat bones maintain levelness. You don't roll over onto the right seat bone. Take a deep inhalation, and with the exhalation, come back to the centre and then over to the left side. Feeling that you can really stretch out your tension from the neck. let the head just become heavy. And draw the left shoulder away from the ceiling. With an exhalation, come back to the centre and over to the other side. Again, just let the head become heavy. Keep drawing the shoulders down away from your ears. And then gently come back to the centre. Hold onto your knees. Lift up into the chest, elevating the heart area upwards. Take a deep inhalation and then turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across and your ribs and your shoulders, but keeping the neck still this time, just looking forwards. Not over the shoulder, just looking forwards. And then turn the abdomen consciously, the ribs and the shoulders. And then come back to the centre. Hold onto your knees. Lift up into the chest. And then turn to the left. And then gently come back to the centre. Come off your lift and then sit back on your heels. Have the big toes together and your knees apart. And before we come forwards, we're going to go back. So bring your hands underneath your shoulders, directly underneath your shoulders, fingers pointing forwards towards the knees. And then spread the palms. Push the palm skin firmly into the floor and then lift from the wrists up into the armpits so that you open the chest. Press the knees into the floor. You might just want to go this far, so just keep lifting the chest, pushing the hands into the floor, lifting the wrists up into the armpits. If you want to go a little further, then turn the tailbone in so that you feel the quads really stretch, and then lift the seat bones up to the ceiling. If there's no problem with your neck, extend into the chin. Keep lifting from the wrists into the armpits. Turning the tailbone inwards to protect the spine, drawing the belly button to the spine, lifting the heart area up towards the chin. And then come down, sit back down onto your heels, and then come forward. Just observe the energy in the arms and in the abdominal region. Come onto your knees, have your hands as wide apart as the mat, spreading the fingers, spreading the palms, turn your toes under, and then come up into dog down. Tighten your kneecaps, press the fronts of the knees through to the backs of the knees, lift the fronts of the thighs up towards the top of the legs, turn the fronts of the thighs inwards, hit the fronts of the thighs through to the backs of the thighs. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the sound of the breath. Keep the legs where they are, keep your feet where they are, keep your hands where they are, and then swing your hips forwards, come into dog, up, turn the crease of the elbows to face the front. Keep the legs away from the floor, push into the heels, and then lengthen the abdomen to the diaphragm, to the collarbone, to the chin, pushing into the heels. The more you push into the heels, the more you open up in the core. And then with an exhalation, come back up into dog down. Just feel how your dog down feels different, your experience of dog down. is different after dog up. Spend some time inside the pose, observing your energy, observing your balance of action. Are you working evenly on the left and the right sides? Are you working evenly between the legs and the arms and the spine? Is there even focus distributed evenly? Okay, step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position. Get a couple of blocks for your hands and have your feet as wide apart as your mat. Have your feet so that you can feel the edges of the mat on the edge of the feet. So you can feel the edge of the mat on the outside edge of the heel. You can feel the edge of the mat on the little toe side of the foot. Have your hands on your hips, tighten your kneecaps, lift again up into the heart area, lifting the abdomen up to the diaphragm, to the collarbone, to the chin, wing the elbows back. Take a deep inhalation and on the exhalation come forwards, keeping the head lifted, hinging entirely at the hips. And then reach down, find the blocks. Just stay on fingertips initially. Pressing the fronts of your knees through to the backs of the knees, hitting the fronts of the thighs into the backs of the thighs, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards. So it's dog down legs. Just listen to the sound of the inhalation and the exhalation, projecting the chin and the chest away. If you can go down lower, then do, but not at the expense of losing the action of the legs. Keep projecting the chin and the chest forwards. If you can reach down to the floor, then do. Projecting the chin and the chest forwards. And then bring your hands onto your hips, bend your knees on the way up if you need to, and then come up into a standing position. Just have the inner edge of your feet together. Your big toes touching and your heels touching. And then lengthening the heart area up to the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Turn the palms all the way out so that they face the sides of the room. The thumbs stretching towards the back of the room. The fingers pointing towards the front of the room. Feel that you lengthen up to the ceiling like an arrow. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Bring your arms forwards, turn the palms all the way out, and then like you're doing the breaststroke in a swimming pool, stretch your arms behind you. Try and rotate the upper arms in the socket so that the palms face up to the ceiling behind you, even if you drop your chest a little, and then bring the tips of the fingers together, and then walk the tips of your fingers up towards your neck. Now at this stage your hands are likely to be like this, the palms are probably far away from each other. So there's a couple of actions. First of all, draw your elbows towards the back of the room behind you. And then lengthen from your shoulders into your elbows. And then finally draw your elbows in towards the heels of the hands. From the heels of the hands, lengthen up into the fingertips. Namaskarasana. So breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Wing in the elbows towards the back of the room. Filling your lungs from the bottom to the top. Emptying your lungs from the top to the bottom. Feel the lower ribs expand and broaden. And then gently release your hands. Spread your fingers, and then again turn the palms all the way out, so that you rotate rotate the upper arms into the you rotate the upper arms in the shoulder shoulder socket. So just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the sound of your breath. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate breaths, broadening the chest. And again, stretch your arms forward, turn the palms all the way out. Just that action in itself starts to rotate the upper arms in the sockets. That's a real boon for this pose. So as you come forwards, don't worry about dropping the chest a little. Keep rotating those upper arms in the sockets. Bring the tips of the fingers together and then walk your hands up your back. So we're cheating a bit, we're dropping the chest, but it helps you to bring the hands up towards the neck a little more, and then lift the chest. Wing the elbows back, lengthen from the shoulders into the elbows, and then push the elbows towards each other the second time. Maybe it feels different. If this is not possible, then just get hold of the elbows behind your back. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Maintaining your tadasana in the legs. Tucking the tailbone in, drawing the abdomen to the spine, lifting the abdomen to the diaphragm, to the collarbone. Winging the elbows back. Lift your toes to sharpen the action of the legs. And then gently release, stretching the palms, resist the temptation to shake the hands. And again, turn the palms in the sockets all the way out. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. And then bring a couple of blocks to the right side of your mat. So Arthur, you might have to move now, I'm afraid. There you go. And then we're going to come into, oh here we go, you come back again. We're going to go back into namaskarasana, so stretch your arms behind you. And again, just drop the chest a little to bring those hands as high up to the neck as you can. So the third time probably feels a lot different. And then once your hands are in Namaste, then step your feet nice and wide for parsvottanasana. So in parsva, if you start to kind of lose your balance a little, just release your hands and bring your hands down onto the blocks. Turn your left toes in, turn your left toes in steeply, and then rotate on the right heel. So at this stage your hips will probably feel a little wonky, so pick up the back heel, turn it, so it's a bit difficult to do with the cat between the legs, so you turn that back heel all the way out so you can swing that back leg hip forwards, and then wing the elbows back, lift from the abdomen into the diaphragm, into the collarbone, into the chest, and then start to come forwards, keeping both legs dead straight, tightening the kneecaps, Turning the thighs inwards, keeping the head lifted. If you need to release your hands, then just take hold of the blocks. Otherwise, see if you can keep coming forwards and down. So if you lose your balance, you can release your hands. Just bring your hands to the floor or to the blocks. And if your hands are on the floor, keep walking your hands, if you can reach the floor, towards that back leg. And then everyone release your arms. Bring your hands down onto the floor. Project the chin and the chest forwards, keeping the hips level. And then bend that front leg, step forwards. And then come up into a standing position. And then put the blocks on the left side and come into Tadasana. So come back into Tadasana. Just observe your Tadasana. Observe how the region of the solar plexus feels broad and open. The abdomen feels broad and open. Stretch your arms forwards, turn the palms all the way, and then again drop the chest a little just to cheat the hands up the back, and then wing the hands into namaskarasana behind your back. Once you have found your namaskarasana, just be in Tadasana for a moment. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. Tuck the tailbone in. So turning the fronts of the thighs inwards is the shape of the legs in parsvottanasana. Step or jump your feet apart, and then this time turn the right toes in steeply, and then rotate on the left foot. Turn that back heel all the way out so that your hips come level. Tighten your kneecaps. Tighten your kneecaps and turn the fronts of your thighs inwards. Lift up into the chest, almost pushing your back into the hands rather than the other way around. Keeping the legs straight, keeping the legs turning inwards, keeping the head lifted, come forwards, hinging entirely at the hips, keeping those legs turning inwards. And then bring the chest down along the legs. Bringing the head down just a little bit at a time, but focusing on bringing the chest down. Okay, release your hands. Just come back to this center point. Bend that front leg, step forwards with the back leg, and then come back up into Tadasana. Just observe the opening of the chest. Turn your palms all the way out, lift up into the chest, like you're an arrow point into the sky. Lifting from the feet into the hips, into the chest, into the shoulders, into the neck. Drawing the shoulders down away from your ears. And then gently soften, come down onto your knees, and then have your hands shoulder width apart. Press the palms really firmly into the floor. Step back, turn your toes under, have the feet hip width apart, and then come up, back up into Adho Mukha Svanasana.
Let the head hang down, but keep the legs determinedly acting. Keep the chest lifting. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Hitting the tops of the legs, the tops of the thighs, right into the backs of the thighs, so that you lengthen in the armpit region. Keep the arms straight, pressing the palms into the floor. Keeping those legs turning in, the fronts of the legs turning inwards, so that the backs of the thighs turn outwards, the backs of the calves turn outwards, the heels turn outwards. Breathing deep, long, deep inhalations and exhalations. And then come down onto your feet and sit back on your heels. Sit back on your heels, extending the heart area up to the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Just feeling the energy of the upper body, of the shoulders, of the chest. Just listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Okay. We're going to go into supta baddha konasana. So have a bolster. If you haven't got a bolster, just use some cushions and have a folded blanket for your head. So just make sure the blanket is kind of really evenly folded, and then have that for your head. If you need support for your hips, you can put blocks underneath the outsides of your thighs, so you can have the blocks out this way, but just try without them to start off with. So don't sit right up against the bolster. That can be depending on how thick your bolster is, that can feel a little restrictive in the spine. So be on fingertips, lift up into the chest, and then guide yourself down, keeping the chest lifted as you release down onto the floor. Have the blanket just underneath your head. And then broaden the chest. Feel how the pose brings the chest nice and wide, how it broadens the abdomen region, how it broadens the diaphragm region, broadens the chest, broadens the collarbone. And then raise your arms up, interlock the fingers, turn the palms of the hands all the way up to the ceiling, squeezing the outer elbows in, and then lengthening your arms away from the body. So you may well have your hands floating in the air. If that's uncomfortable, then put a block or a couple of blocks underneath your hands so that they're supporting your shoulders. Otherwise, you can just let the tops of your arms rest on the blanket, let the hands kind of float in midair, but keep really squeezing the outer elbows in. Focusing on deep inhalations and exhalations. Listening to the sound of the breath. So supta baddha konasana is a particularly good pose for broadening the chest, opening up your energy. But keep the pose active in the arms. The fingers are interlocked. It's almost like you want to tear the hands apart, but keep them interlocked.
Squeezing the outer elbows in. And then release your hands, and then swap the interlock of the fingers so the other index finger is on the top of the stack. Just bring the fingers right into the webbing of the hands again. Turn your palms all the way out. Straighten your arms, and again lengthen your arms along the floor. Just taking deep inhalations and exhalations, listening to the breath. At this stage we can incorporate a parnic breath. And that is an inhalation from the perineum all the way up to the collarbone, and from the out breath from the collarbone down towards the perineum. So the perineum is at the base of the spine, just in between the legs, in between the genitals and the anus. And then release your arms with an out breath. Release the arms just to the sides of the body. And in a moment we're going to come out of the pose by pushing the elbows into the floor. Try not to poke your head forwards as you come up. Try and lead with the chest. So bring your hands onto the floor, push yourself up, and come into baddha konasana. Hold on to the big toes. In baddha konasana, just maintain your parnic breath. Inhaling from the perineum to the collarbone, and the collarbone down towards the perineum. Okay, and then just bring your legs into swastikasana, just into cross legs. So we're going to go into supta virasana. So I know that supta virasana is a challenging pose and it's not always the most popular of poses, but the more you do it, the more you get used to it. So we're going to stick with the bolster, but you might need a bit more height. So if you need a bit more height, if you've got two bolsters, you can have one on top of the other. If you don't have two bolsters, two bolsters one on top of each other might be a little bit high, but it depends on how much space you need. So you can put a bolster, you can put a couple of blocks underneath your bolster just to bring a little more height. And if you know supta virasana, and if perhaps you're not a huge fan of it, going higher is the best way to kind of get more familiar
and confident with the pose. So I'm just going to do it with my normal bolster, but if you want more height, then give yourself more height. And again, have the blanket for your head. Okay, so then you're going to come back with your knees together. Now, if you've got uncomfortable knees, you can always get a blanket, and then you bring your head down to the floor, pull the blanket right into the backs of the knees, and then come back. Or you can use it to do the same thing with the belt. So at first, just sit back on the space between the two heels, and then push your hands into the floor so that you can lift up into the chest. Just bend your elbows, come down onto the bolster, and then make sure that your head is well supported. So I'm just going to, my head feels like it's rolling back a little bit, so I'm just folding my blanket up a little more. Now initially this may not feel immediately comfortable, so try and keep your knees together, but then lift the buttocks and then get hold of the buttocks and try and draw the buttock flesh down towards the backs of your knees so that you kind of tilt the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Draw the belly button towards the spine, especially if it's uncomfortable in your lumbar. And then stretch your arms up, interlock the fingers, and then extend your arms over your head again. And just going back to that apanic breath, breathe in from the perineum to the collarbone, and the collarbone down to the perineum with the out breath. If this isn't comfortable for you, if it's not comfortable for your knees, although it is good for your knees, but if it doesn't feel comfortable for your knees, then you can go back into supta, baddha konasana. Listen to the breath. Observe the breath. Swap the interlock of the fingers, turn the palms all the way out again, and then reach your arms back across the bolster. So again, it's a good opening for the core of the body. Bring in space and release and a feeling of internal stretch. Just release your arms, just rest your hands on the floor either side of the body. Just maintaining that position of supta virasana for a little longer, maintaining the movement of the breath. Okay, bring your elbows into the floor. Push yourself up onto your elbows. push your hands into the floor, and then bring yourself up onto your knees, and then just come up onto all fours. Turn your toes under, step back a little, and then gently bring yourself up into dog down. Just gently, slowly straightening your legs and just letting the body stretch out, bringing the heels down to the floor to stretch your calf muscles. Just feel where you need elongation and see if you can provide the body with that elongation. And then come down onto your knees, and then just sit in cross legs for a moment. Just observe your energy. Observe how your energy has changed. Just listening to the breath, and then turn to the right side, using the back hand into the bolster to maintain the lift of the spine, drawing the abdomen from the left to the right, staying on the front edge of the seat bones. And then come back to the centre, lift up into your chest, and then turn to the left. Feeling that you can lengthen out of the hips and up into the spine. And then very gently come back to the centre. And then just move the bolster behind you. Just have a folded blanket for underneath your head. And then just come down onto your back. Just come down onto your back with the blanket underneath your neck and the back of your neck and your head. Just pull your knees in towards your chest. Just really releasing the lumbar and the sacrum, drawing the knees towards the chest as much as you can. Have a little rock from side to side. Hold on to the sides of the mat and then lengthen your legs up to the ceiling. Just a gentle inversion. If you struggle to lift your legs, you can put the bolster underneath your lower back, or block in the sacrum area. So breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to your breath. Bend your knees, bring your feet down onto the floor, and then straighten yourself out along the centre of your mat. Just going to cover my legs because it's a little bit chilly in here. Make sure you're in a really good straight line right down the centre of the mat, And then just rest yourself down into shavasana. Let the body become heavy. Let the muscles unhook from the arms and the legs. So that the physical body becomes heavy, but you feel a deep energetic lightness from the core of the bones that radiates into the muscles. Deep penetrative energy that radiates from the bones and into the organs. From the bones to the muscles to the organs, including the flesh and the skin. Use your in-breath and your out-breath to distribute that feeling of energetic lightness down into the tips of the toes and the legs and into the arms and the tips of the fingers and all the way up into the top of the head. Basking in that feeling of energetic lightness. And when you're ready to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, bring yourself back into this pose of shavasana. And then bend your knees, bring your knees in towards your chest, have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. Just a gentle massage on the spine. And then roll onto your right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. Just a final cross legs with your hands in Namaste, a final spinal lift. Draw your breath in through your nose and down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this morning. Good.
positive energy that you have released through your practice. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you have created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. Gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel like you have lifted your energy, given yourself good positive energy to put into your day. So thank you very much for joining me.